They don't say it publicly yet, but crash investigators now believe it was a bomb that brought down TWA 800. In-depth coverage tonight as they piece together what's looking more and more like a murder mystery. And the victims. As the experts determine how they died, we will show you how they lived. Also tonight, should the abortion pill be legal? The government moves closer to a decision.
This is the CBS Evening News. With Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. Once again tonight, we're devoting much of the broadcast to in-depth coverage of the latest on the crash of TWA Flight 800. Rough seas at the crash site off the south shore of Long Island forced U.S. Navy divers today to put off the search for the plane's flight recorders, although they think they may know where one of them is. But even without that key piece of evidence, investigators are moving toward concluding that it probably was a bomb. At this hour, the official death toll stands at 230. At least 100 bodies have been recovered. 9 U.S. Coast Guard cutters will be searching in a difficult mission through the night for victims and wreckage. That wreckage, of course, could prove absolutely essential in determining how the blast came about. About what caused the 747 to explode in flames and crash into the Atlantic Wednesday evening, officials were being very cautious today in the wording of their public statements. But there is little doubt where the investigation is heading. We have a team of CBS News correspondents working the case. We go first to Jim Stewart in Washington. Jim?
Dan, federal investigators have seen enough wreckage and have heard enough from witnesses to already conclude that in all likelihood, TWA Flight 800 was knocked from the sky by a bomb. They don't have positive proof of that yet, but they think they will once divers recover the plane's flight recorders. At that time, or sooner if forensic test on the existing evidence pans out, responsibility for this investigation will officially shift over from the National Transportation and Safety Board to the FBI's Counterterrorism Task Force. Now, sources tell CBS News that could happen soon, but almost certainly by this weekend. Thus far, we are told there have been no significant intelligence findings about who may have committed this act, although officials tell us they are operating on the assumption that if it was a bomb, then it was the work of terrorists. And although they have received several more claims of responsibility for the crash, none is proven legitimate. Dan?
Jim Stewart in Washington. Correspondent Bob Orr is on Long Island tonight with the latest on the search for the evidence, what investigators have, and what they're still looking for. Bob?
Dan, aviation sources tell us that new information from air traffic control tapes and from radar data strongly supports this growing belief that it was a bomb that knocked TWA 800 from the skies. The FBI, while officially waiting for more physical proof before taking over the case, also now has labeled this a criminal investigation.
These things take time, but I'm very, very confident that we will, as I said last night, get to the bottom of this. We will know what happened on that airplane, whether it's 24 hours from now or if it's a week from now.
Investigators had hoped for conclusive proof today that a bomb brought down the jetliner. But bad weather kept divers from retrieving the plane's black boxes, which could contain sounds and information confirming an onboard explosion.
The weather was not good. It was very rough. Now they're planning to go back out again tomorrow morning and resume.
Even without the boxes, there is plenty of evidence pointing to a bomb. CBS News has learned that radar data reveals the jetliner's flight from Kennedy Airport was completely normal up to 13,000 feet. But shortly after controllers cleared the plane to climb to 15,000, it suddenly disappeared from radar. The pilots had reported no in-flight problems and had made no distress calls to air traffic controllers. And there were no communications after the blast, a sign the plane's radios and electronics were knocked out. But the strongest evidence likely will come from the wreckage. About 10% of the airplane has now been recovered, and explosive experts are looking for the kinds of clues that help them solve the Pan Am 103 bombing.
Well, we're going to look for residue. We're going to look for certain streaking patterns. We're going to look for the way the metal is shaped or fragmented, if it is. We don't know that. We're going to look at all those things.
But veteran investigators say they've already seen plenty to know that it had to be a bomb, and this is the key point. Investigators say they can conceive of no malfunction or structural failure or combination of problems that could explain the bizarre behavior of TWA Flight 800 before it went down. Dan?
Thanks, Bob. If it was a bomb or even some kind of missile, if it was something of evil intent, and keep in mind no one is saying that officially yet, The question quickly becomes who is responsible for what would be the single deadliest act of terror ever in this country. National Security Correspondent David Martin at the Pentagon is working on that part of the story. David?
Dan, U.S. officials say there are no hot leads to who might have placed a bomb aboard the plane, so the list of possible suspects has to include every terrorist group with both the motive and the skill to do it. As last month's bombing in Saudi Arabia has shown, there is no shortage of terrorists eager to blow up Americans. If a bomb is responsible for the TWA explosion, the followers of Ramzi Youssef would be obvious suspects. Accused of masterminding the bombing of the World Trade Center, Youssef is currently on trial in New York for an unsuccessful plot to blow up several U.S. airliners simultaneously. If a bomb were put aboard in New York, it could have been a simple time bomb which any terrorist could fabricate. If a bomb were put aboard in Athens, the plane's previous port of call, it would have to be a much more sophisticated device rigged to go off after a certain number of takeoffs and landings. Very few terrorist groups have demonstrated that capability. Terrorism experts believe that if this was a bomb, it went off prematurely, bringing TWA 800 down close enough to land for wreckage to be recovered, just like Pan Am 103, which came down over Scotland and left enough evidence to indict 2 Libyan intelligence agents. U.S. officials do not expect any real terrorist group to make their job easier by claiming credit, since the slaughter of so many innocent victims would only create a backlash against whatever their cause might be. Dan?
Thanks, David. As we mentioned, the often underappreciated and underpraised U.S. Coast Guard is working around the clock in very difficult circumstances, looking for victims and wreckage, evidence in those choppy waters off Long Island. Correspondent Anthony Mason is on the scene in East Moriches, New York.
As the rescue ships came and went through the Moriches Inlet today,
Coast Guard boat pretty far out.
Long Islanders charted their progress. Even on shore, their thoughts were out at sea.
And we did volunteer if we could help. We did
we called the Red Cross.
Kathy Bremer was recently discharged from the Coast Guard. She'd been stationed at nearby Shinnecock.
I went back to my station. I even asked if I could get back underway, you know.
But the Coast Guard had already called in boats from as far north as Maine, as far south as North Carolina. The dirty job of cleaning up after an air disaster was made more difficult today by choppier seas. The Coast Guard, of course, is trained for search and rescue, but this mission is anything but just another job. He's on board! When the Coast Guard cutter Point Wells responded in the early hours of Thursday morning, the commander, Senior Chief Donald Cresson, was worried about how his young crew would respond to what they were about to see.
I talked to the crew while we were en route to the scene and told them that it was going to be very difficult at best, and more so than we usually do. I told them to try and keep an eye on each other through this ordeal.
From the ocean wreckage Thursday morning, Seaman Thomas Coonan would pick up a diaper and a doll.
Until we actually got on scene and saw what it was, we thought we were going to be pulling people out of the water. I had broken out some of the EMT gear, the resuscitator. We had everything on deck ready to go to help save people. We never used it.
But they did their job. They spent more than 30 hours recovering wreckage. You just try to concentrate, one seaman said today, and do your job.
You won't forget it. I'll never forget this. I don't think anyone will.
Anthony Mason, CBS News, East Moriches, Long Island.
CBS News in-depth coverage of the TWA crash will continue in a moment. Coming up next, calls for tighter U.S. airport security and the high cost of lowering that risk.
You know, heartburn medicines have been around for years. First came Tagamet, then Zantac, then Pepsid. But the newest, Axid, now in non-prescription strength as New Axid AR. The only one that says right on its labeling, for many, it can prevent heartburn completely. That's something 2 Tagamet HB, Zantac 75, and Pepsid AC just don't claim. New Axid AR. Proven it can prevent heartburn completely.
Take a good look through Transitions lenses. The lightweight plastic prescription lenses with a special tint that lightens and darkens as the light changes. Transitions lenses. Lightweight plastic lenses that darken and lighten just like that. It's comfort you can see, day or night, inside or outside. Ask for Transitions lenses and see for yourself. They're right in any light.
1.5 million people board airliners every day in the United States. Now, for those jittery this day and this week after the TWA explosion, there was little in the way of reassurance. Scott Pelley has more about it.
I need to see picture IDs, please, from both of you. Ladies, did you pack your own bags?
The terminals were no less crowded today, but in addition to the usual baggage, many passengers carried a nagging concern about their own safety.
Well, I just hope we are able to get back in one piece, you know. I got family that's always on my mind.
Yeah, I'm a little edgy, but uncomfortable.
Today, federal officials did nothing to relieve that concern. The Department of Transportation was unable to say what, if any, improvements are being considered. Security consultants agree there is plenty of room for improvement, especially in the way security is funded in this country. The FAA sets the minimum standards for security, but it's up to the airlines to pay for the screening. Typically, the airlines do this as cheaply as possible, hiring outside security firms that often pay their employees minimum wage. That worried Larry Spiller today in San Francisco.
You see somebody just sitting there that perhaps is not all that well trained, watching X-ray baggage go through.
Morris Busby is the former ambassador for counterterrorism. He believes the government should pay for security.
In the hands of the airlines, at least in the hands of the airlines, if they are responsible for funding it, it becomes a commercial question, and I'm not so sure that that's proper.
The FAA is having trouble developing high-tech equipment to screen baggage for bombs, but some security consultants say that money would be better spent on more competent personnel.
We are talking about equipment. And I will repeat 1,000 times that equipment cannot replace the human being.
Still, for most, despite TWA, the flight must go on.
I think when it's my time to see Jesus, I'll see him no matter what I'm doing.
Security consultants agree the traveling public will most likely see changes that will make air travel more difficult, now that America appears to be a target again. Scott Pelley, CBS News at JFK International Airport.
Bosnian Serb leader Radovan Karadzic today gave up some of his formal political powers. U.S. envoy Richard Holbrooke said Karadzic signed documents resigning as head of the ruling Bosnian Serb party, but Karadzic still escapes extradition to face charges of war crimes. Coming up next, the government moves closer to approving a controversial abortion pill.
You know what I hate? Pain. That's why I love Aspirin. When I get mine on muscle aches, I just rub it in for fast relief that lasts for hours. And it's odor-free. Why live with pain? You're gonna love it. Aspirin does not contain aspirin.
Some people clean their dentures in the daytime, but if you soak at night, get new Polident overnight. Its unique enzyme formula cleans and whitens better than daytime soaks. New Polident overnight, next to fast-acting 5-minute Polident.
The girls were really excited about our big fishing trip in the morning. The last thing I needed was heartburn keeping me awake. Now Zantac 75, I don't know how long it takes to start working, and I needed some sleep. I know Maalox starts to work fast.
Maalox starts to work on stomach acid in about 1 minute. Zantac 75 could take over 45 minutes to start working.
The heartburn was gone fast, and we're gone fishing.
Make 1 minute Maalox the fast choice for you. And try new improved Maalox tablets, the strongest Maalox tablets ever.
Crispix for me? Thank you.
Elizabeth says Crispix won't get soggy in milk.
We'll see. Starts off crispy. So far, you're right, Elizabeth, but still crispy. Okay, but reality will soon set in.
Kellogg's Crispix cereal. Delicious corn and rice that stays crispy to the end.
Last bite, gonna be mushy, soggy. Hey, it's still crispy.
More Crispix, Daddy?
Thanks. You're a doll. You too, Elizabeth.
Charles Kuralt salutes a true music man, composer, teacher, ambassador of jazz, the one and only Billy Taylor. A special birthday tribute this Sunday morning.
After hearing intense and sometimes angry debate, an advisory panel recommended that the U.S. government give the green light to the French abortion pill known as RU-486. More now on the significance of today's abortion pill decision from Jacqueline Adams.
Multiple checkpoints, magnetometers, a remote, windowless hearing room. The FDA took every precaution today when an advisory committee voted to recommend sales of a controversial new abortion drug, mifepristone, known in Europe as RU-486.
The advice is not binding on the FDA, but of course the agency will take it very seriously.
Sponsors of the drug emphasize that in Europe, some 200,000 women have taken mifepristone without serious side effects.
Women in the United States want this drug now, and there's no reason to wait.
Taken early in a doctor's office, the drug blocks a hormone needed for the pregnancy to continue. Though data from U.S. trials hasn't been finalized, the drug was 95.5% effective among 2,100 women who took it. This woman participated in the U.S. trial and urged the FDA to approve this abortion pill.
It's just so much less invasive than a surgical procedure.
Both outside and inside the hearing, anti-abortion forces continued their efforts to keep the drug out of the U.S.
Foremost, we oppose it because it kills the life of an unborn child after it's begun. This is an abortion drug, and that is our objection to it. It's an abortion.
The volatility of the abortion debate has forced this drug's manufacturer to go undercover. Even if the FDA finally approves mifepristone for sale, the name of its maker will not be made public. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, Gaithersburg, Maryland.
The governor of Wisconsin has declared a state of emergency and called out the National Guard after a tornado ripped through Oakfield. Home video shows this twister approaching town late yesterday, injuring at least 17 people, leaving hundreds homeless. Watch and listen as it happens.
My goodness! Come here, Duncan. Come down here.
I'm 62. Can I still help prevent osteoporosis?
I'm over 40. Can calcium help me?
It's never too late to help prevent osteoporosis with Caltrate. Caltrate Plus is uniquely formulated with 20% more calcium than any leading brand, plus 6 added nutrients essential for healthy bones. So whatever your age,
It's never too late for Caltrate.
now all the benefits of Caltrate Plus in 2 great-tasting, chewable flavors.
I'll never go back to denture paste or powders again.
Here's why. C-Bond denture adhesive. No other adhesive works like C-Bond, and it holds dentures so tight, so long. C-Bond combines 2 powerful adhesives into a soft micro-thin seal that bonds your dentures to your gums, can hold them comfortably all day long.
I'll never go back to paste or powders.
There's no messy cleanup. C-Bond is so easy to remove. Nothing holds dentures like C-Bond.
You'll never go back to paste or powders again.
I got up this morning and I took the Nicotrol patch out of the pack and I applied it on my left arm, which if I can show it to you. I want to quit smoking. I really do.
If you're ready to quit, Nicotrol has a whole new way to help. A simple one-step patch that can help control your urge to smoke so you can increase your chance of success in just 6 weeks.
I've smoked a long time, 35 years to be exact. I'm taking back the control that I lost.
6 weeks, 1 step. Take control with Nicotrol.
Glamorous Hollywood? Not to me. For me, it's long hours and strange locations. Can't get slowed down by irregularity. My doctor says exercise, eat right. But sometimes a meal is whatever you can grab between takes. My doctor suggested Metamucil, the only leading brand with 100% natural fiber, like the fiber in healthy foods. Keeps me regular, gently, so I can give my usual award-winning performance.
Metamucil, the doctor's natural choice for regularity.
Next stop on NASCAR's Truck Series, the Louisville Motor Speedway. 225 laps of pickup pounding, paint swapping, rough racing fun. Saturday on CBS.
Vice President Al Gore talks about Flight 800, terrorism, presidential politics, and foreign policy. Vice President Al Gore on Face the Nation Sunday.
Retired General Colin Powell will give the concluding speech on opening night at the Republican Convention in San Diego next month. Powell, who was in Chicago today for a speech, has been negotiating with the Dole campaign for months about his convention role. Your reporter's been told by several sources that part of the deal was that Dole would choose his vice presidential candidate before Powell speaks, and it will not be Powell. President Clinton, meanwhile, is in Atlanta tonight for the opening ceremonies of the Olympic Games. But rippling beneath the pageantry and excitement is an undercurrent of apprehension, as White House correspondent Rita Braver reports.
Dan, government sources tell CBS News that the White House has been urging federal agencies not to speculate about terrorism as a possible cause of the TWA crash. They say that is in large part because of concerns about putting a damper on the Olympics, scaring the public and the athletes. And today in Atlanta, in an appearance carefully orchestrated by the White House, President Clinton did not even mention the crash. Flanked by great Olympians of the past, he told the current U.S. Olympic team that they represent the best of America.
But I want you to realize that just by being what you already are, you are a source of enormous pride to our country and an inspiration to the world.
Mr. Clinton believes the focus of this day should be the athletes and not on some possible fears. Dan?
Thanks, Rita. Ready or not, the Olympic Games, all the hoop and hoopla and the reshaping of Atlanta's image are about to begin. Correspondent Mark Phillips is there.
They say that for the host city, staging the Olympics is like getting the mumps. They're a good thing to get once, and you hope you never get them again. Atlanta's case of Olympic mumps reached fever pitch today as the torch finally hit town. But the thing about the Olympics is that they can be the best example on earth of the uplifting of the human spirit, or they can be what an Olympic Committee member once called an exercise in commercialism, nationalism, racism, and drugs. Atlanta will have both types of games.
Here's my family.
Andrew Young, former Atlanta mayor, former UN ambassador, is one of the people most responsible for bringing the games here. And these are the Young family bricks, bought like the others in Olympic Park for $35 each.
This is a whole lot better and a hell of a lot cheaper than the tombstones.
And you can enjoy it when you're alive.
Right.
To Young, these games are urban therapy.
This gives us an identity, a sense of mission, a sense of community.
Which you feel you didn't have before?
We really didn't. They confused us with Atlantic City and asked us about our slot machines. Or they asked about Gone with the Wind.
The Olympics are Atlanta's way of giving shape to its claim of having that thing called world-class status and of thumbing its nose at its detractors.
There are not many cities in the world right now that have any sense of self-worth. Maybe London and Paris, but New York hates itself.
Atlanta has been turning some of its less desirable high-crime neighborhoods into parking lots for these games. Neighborhoods where the last census showed 43% of children live below the poverty line. Not everyone is feeling the game's benefit.
I'll be glad when it's all over and done with.
But still, the old Olympic dream survives. Shanghai-born U.S. badminton player Kevin Han, an American citizen for just 2 years.
I feel great. I feel awesome. You know, I mean, to have a chance to represent a country like the United States, it has always been my biggest dream.
In the heat of a southern summer, Atlanta will be judged by the world over the next 2 weeks. It turns out, in the famous phrase, that Atlanta does give a damn. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Atlanta.
When we come back, another tragedy of Flight 800, the ones who must live on and try somehow to comprehend.
Reminds me of a stomach churning with acid, heartburn. This little pill can change all that. Zantac 75 helps prevent acid production for up to 12 hours. The medicine in Zantac 75 is so trusted that over the last 5 years it's been the most prescribed medicine of its kind. Maybe the tide is finally turning.
Zantac 75, the final word in acid relief.
1996 Atlanta. What better place to ask people about the taste of Wheaties, the breakfast of champions?
It's got that good whole wheat flavor.
It's good!
It's got a nice hearty thing to it.
Toasty. And, oh, it's good.
Oh man, this is great. You get something a lot more substantial out of Wheaties. A toasty flavor.
If you think all cereals taste like you've never had Wheaties.
I'm gonna go buy this.
The championship taste of toasted whole wheat Wheaties.
Better eat your Wheaties.
Hey, that's my line.
Well, we're here with Wanda and Babs, who feel that their zipper bag is fine and will not switch to Gladlock zipper bags.
That's right. Ditto.
Now, Babbo, let's say you hold some of your famous chicken gravy upside down over Wanda's head, sealed in either your bag or the Gladlock bag with the yellow and blue make green seal, so you know the bag is closed. Your bag doesn't have a green seal.
Well, I say let's go for it with our bag. Why switch? Because it's my head. We'll switch to Gladlock.
Good call, Wanda. When it really counts, get Gladlock.
Now here's some welcome news.
It's not age that slows most of us down. It's usually not eating right. New Resource helps guarantee you get the nutrition you need to be your best every day. Improve your diet. Improve your life with New Resource, the liquid nutritional food. And here comes more good news. Resource is the only nutritional drink with fresh fruit flavors and no fat. Only from Resource.
When that TWA flight exploded in a fiery thunderball over the Atlantic Ocean, the families and loved ones of those on board were plunged into an ocean of grief. Those that died carried something intangible with them, the hopes, dreams, and love of the many, many others who were their families, friends, and fellow countrymen. Bob McNamara has more.
It could have been so many of us, any of us. Anyone who was hurried to make a flight, hoped for a vacation, or held a child's hand at the airport. Passengers may be people brought together by coincidence, but those on board Flight 800 are now forever bound together by their crash into the sea and the growing sense that these deaths were not an accident, but an act of evil.
We need a lot of people to come out and volunteer their time to help these victims.
In life, Pam Lichner worked for crime victims. She died along with her 2 young daughters on the way to a long-awaited vacation.
Imagine if you came to school one day and...
This young reporter was on board. For 2 years, Ana Duarte Coiner had covered kids' news in New York State.
Faction News for Kids, I'm Ana Duarte Coiner.
Interior designer Jed Johnson was flying to Europe to shop for antiques.
He's going to be so missed.
Amy and Kyle Miller were planning to celebrate their 5th anniversary in Paris. Dan Gabor was anxious to see his girlfriend.
I can't ever in my head give up on cases that are unsolved.
Homicide detective Sue Hill loved her work and served as a technical consultant to a TV series.
You know, you just stop believing in God when stuff like this happens.
Across the country tonight, there is bitterness and disbelief. Tears at the release of a roster now written in blood. So many faces lost forever. It could have been so many of us. Any of us. Bob McNamara, CBS News, New York.
And that's part of our world tonight. Sunday on 60 Minutes, Steve Croft investigates a completely different kind of unusual whodunit.
It's not the kind of thing that's supposed to happen, and certainly not at America's foremost scientific research complex. Whoever it was deliberately and maliciously poisoned a pregnant young scientist with a dangerous radioactive isotope. And the deliberate poisoning also raised 2 more questions. Who did it, and why?
60 Minutes Sunday. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting. Good night.
CBS News.
I don't like being on disability. I'm trying to do what I can. Metro has tried to do what they could. They've sent me on the job interviews.
This woman regularly works as a model, so why is she getting disability?
The city pays her $17,000 a year, but she does no work for Metro, and guess who's footing the bill?
Yes, most definitely.
From your news and information leader, this is the News Channel 5 6 o'clock report.
Good evening, I'm Vicki Yates.
And I'm Chris Clark. Thanks for joining us.